Hey fellow babies, welcome back to the Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. If you are watching as a Patreon patron, we appreciate it very much. Christmas coming up, so if you can squeeze an extra $1 or $2, Shane needs to buy presents for me. And if you're not a Patreon patron, please try to remember to link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch Prime account, and Amazon will pay us a couple bucks. That's a perk of an Amazon Prime membership. Costs you nothing. If you can't do either of those, please follow me on Twitter at Michael Pachter. Okay, this week our first question from SIFTD from Raphael / Michael. Raphael. Oh, there's no slash. The L looked like a slash. Raphael Michael. From what we know, the PS5 and Scarlett are basically on par. Sony has an advantage in installed base and potential returning customers, while Microsoft has made its software catalog as accessible as possible with Game Pass and has purchased several studios. Which has the upper hand entering Generation 9 and why? Consoles are like religion or college or hometown. People are just like intensely loyal. It's like if you voted for Trump, most people say they still love him. If you didn't, they hate him. If you bought a PS4, you love PlayStation, you're going to buy a PS5. So I'd say the biggest selling point is installed base. Most people aren't going to switch, period. And I don't think it's as acrimonious as politics or colleges, but I think people who own PS5 think it's better than, or PS4 think it's better than Xbox One. So people who buy the PS4 are going to buy a PS5, period. All things being equal, Sony's going to outsell Microsoft 2-1. Microsoft's going to try to fight back with more exclusive titles, which is why they bought all those studios. Sony has a better, arguably exclusive library now. So we'll see, but I'd say maybe Microsoft makes up a little ground because Microsoft stumbled out of the gate last time with Kinect and with higher price, and I think they'll probably be priced on par this time. Microsoft might give away some more stuff because it matters to them. If I were they, I would give away 1 year of Game Pass for free. Like, what the hell? What do you got to lose? Hook people up. But all things being equal, if they just charge the same for the consoles and everything's the same, then I'd say Sony beats them. And just that's how it looks today. I'll have a different view when E3 comes around. Our next question from Patreon from Joseph LaRussa. Standard 501c3 corporations, they're actually not corporations, generally require the business to make as much money as possible, leading to things like the Blizzard situation. As a fellow lawyer, where do you stand on benefit corps that commit to creating public benefit and sustainable value in addition to generating profits? Do you believe they are viable? How would a switch to a more socially conscious corporation impact the gaming industry and American society as a whole? Okay, 501c3s are not for profit, so your first premise is it requires them to make as much money as possible is wrong. I think you mean standard C Corps, right, not 501c3. So a C corporation formed by the shareholders, there's no law that requires them to make as much profit. The charter requires them to, and that's up to each individual corporation. So you get these benefit corps that are formed by people who are less interested in profit and more interested in doing good. And so God bless them. And I would say maybe that's like SpaceX, maybe. I don't know if they are one or not, probably not, but they're more interested in like cool space exploration or Virgin Galactic or whatever. I'm sure they want to make a profit, but they also want to do something that's cool and make space affordable and approachable. I do not understand how a switch to that would impact the gaming industry at all. No gaming company is going to do it. The gaming business is an entertainment business, so it's like asking how a socially conscious record label or movie studio would work. They don't exist. I suppose there's like a Christian music label or something that's cool and makes great art, but they're interested in converting people or making them happy and embrace God, and that's a good social, choice, I suppose, if you're Christian. But I don't think that works in games at all. So I don't see any switch to a more socially conscious corporation impacting the gaming industry. I don't think, the Blizzard situation, if you're talking about the Hong Kong thing, was solely because, I think they want to separate political activity from gaming because it makes them look bad in China where they want to do business. I don't think being socially conscious, all that would do is keep them out of China altogether. Yeah, it would hurt them fiscally, and if they make, I think the naive part of your question is, the more money these guys make, the more they'll commit to the next game. So if they make a lot of profit, they can make even better games the next time. And if they make less profit, then they're going to make worse games. And so think about, like the Martin Scorsese comment that Marvel movies aren't cinema. It's like, yeah, but they make $1 billion, which means that the next one can cost $250 million and they'll still make a profit. And if they didn't make a profit, then they have to go make a movie with a tiny budget with actors no one's heard of, and sorry for the construction. And you might get a really good film every once in a while, but more often than not, you get a flop that nobody sees and nobody cares about. And that's why Marvel is dominating box office, and you don't see movies like The Irishman in box office. You see them debut on Netflix. If Martin Scorsese didn't care about profit, he would have funded The Irishman out of his pocket, and he didn't. He let Netflix fund it. Why? Because no studio wanted it, because it was too expensive. So, the point of this, it's a profit deal, is if you want the best of the best in entertainment, you got to pay the creative talent to create it. And if you don't want to pay them, then you're not going to get the best of the best unless you're extremely lucky. So, I'm sorry, I can't draw a correlation between gaming and social consciousness. I think, as I said in an earlier episode, Reed Hastings said, we're not in the speaking truth to power business, we're in the entertainment business. So guess what? We pulled the content that the Saudi royal family found offensive that was on Netflix. We pulled it from the Saudi market. And that's what it costs to be an entertainment company. You got to go along with the guys who can ban your Netflix service if they want to. So they did. Our next question from SIFTD, from Snarfed. Hi guys, now that game sales are clearly going digital and streaming may be next, what's the state of gaming industry market data? Everybody has depended upon NPD, EDAR, Screen Digest, etc. for data. They now all have huge holes and approximations. Yeah, I gotta say, I am singularly dissatisfied with all the services that I used to use. NPD has value to me because if I know retail sales, I can do what you just said, approximate what the digital percentage is. So let's say Call of Duty, just easy math, that Call of Duty tells you we sold 20 million copies last year, and then I count up the NPD, and let's just say it's 5 million in the US, and then Activision says 50% of our units were in the US, well, then that means they sold 10 million physical, and I know digital is 50%. Like I can do 10 over 20 and figure it out. So NPD is useful because it gives me the physical number, and the companies tend to give you digital percentages and US and international splits and things like that. So I still find it useful, but it's not going to tell you, if you're just reading NPD press releases, you as a consumer are not going to be able to figure out what a game sold. I use it because I know if Activision did that with Call of Duty, it's probably pretty true of Cyberpunk 77 or something like that. But no, it's really hard, I think, to use any of this data if you don't have a lot of other data. In particular, you mentioned the console guys. I personally find the mobile data even more worthless. And the data, there's data and then there's the guys who extrapolate. The data that App Annie publishes is real ordinal rankings on the App Store. So when I see Call of Duty Mobile at number 13 on iOS in the US, I know what that means. But when I read that, Screen Digest or Sensor Tower or App Annie's paid service have extrapolated that is $13 million last week, I call bullshit. They're just making up the number. Now, sometimes they're close. I mean, they really are. But I have just as much data on how number 13 games performed as they do. And in fact, I have a lot more because I talk to a lot of developers. And so I might know a guy who's got the number 42 ranked game on iOS, and then I see a public company with a number 41 ranked game, and my buddy who's at 42 will say, oh, we did $20 million last month. So I know that number 42 equals $240 million a year. And so when I read number 41 did 300 million, I'm like, bullshit. It didn't. But my buddy will tell me they're not telling these services that sell their data for money. So I'm fortunate because I'm well connected and I'm able to put it together myself. I don't pay for any of the services. I pay for NPD. I don't pay for any of the mobile services. Anyway, I hope that answers your question. It's getting really hard. And again, the publishers aren't going to tell you because they don't have to. Our last question this week from Patreon from Mid-Range G. Platonic, a studio composed of ex-Rare developers, has released 2 ukulele games that are commonly considered clones of Rare games. Do you think there's any sort of animosity between the 2 studios over this? That's a really great question. Does this sort of thing ever happen? Do you take bad blood into account when organizing my E3 party? So I do take bad blood into account. I'll answer the last question first because I use Kevin Dent to organize my party for me, and Kevin unfortunately has more skeletons buried from all the people he's killed in his life. So Kevin tells me who I can't invite to my party, and I love Kevin like a brother. He's the best dude ever. But honestly, if you burn Kevin, you are dead to him. And Kevin uses the E3 party to make sure that there is bad blood. So we uninvite people all the time. I don't even want to name names. As far as have I ever seen this thing before, remember Harmonix? Because Harmonix developed Guitar Hero as a work for hire. And it was Red Octane was the name of the company that hired them. And Red Octane sold to Activision, the brand was sold to Activision, and Harmonix left because Activision didn't want to buy them, which was dumb of Activision. And the next thing you know, there was a game called Rock Band. Do you remember that game? Now I have to say, it was completely different than Guitar Hero because I think the buttons had different colors on the guitar neck, and that's it.
Well, you played as a whole band instead of just guitar.
But the guitar was identical.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And then Guitar Hero came out with the whole band. So, Rock Band and Guitar Hero, the guitar was identical. And then the Rock Band took it to the next level, and Guitar Hero ripped them off. So, yes, you see this all the time. Now, I am not a 4x4 Evo Konami player, but I am certain that the Konami guys and the FIFA guys, the games look identical. And back in the day when Madden and 2K made, football games, they looked identical. Yes, they rip each other off all the time. And I honestly can't name like ex-developers, but Harmonix is the ex-developer Guitar Hero, so I'm for sure that happened. These guys do what they know, and so I think of course they're going to take things that they figured out at another studio and take it with them. And I can't name 100 different examples of this, but I'm sure there are. It happens all the time. So look, developers, there's only so much originality in the world, and everybody can't make Katamari Damacy or something that is like the most unique original game ever. Everything is derivative, and everybody sees techniques that they like and they borrow. So how many Call of Duty games have had zombies in them? Certainly not only the Treyarch ones. And again, Treyarch, I'm sure voluntarily shared that, but people love zombies. We freaking got to kill our zombies. Thanks for joining us. I hope you are a Patreon patron, and we thank you for the patronage. If you aren't, please link your Prime account to your Twitch account, and we get a couple bucks a month. And if you can't do that, follow me on Twitter @Michael Pachter.